So a few people have commented on my videos saying that All Tomorrows needs to be made into a movie, and usually on these comments there's also a reply saying that it probably wouldn't work as a movie due to the vast amounts of time that the story covers. The latter point is actually something I agree with, and while I do think that an All Tomorrows movie could be awesome, I also think that it's pretty unlikely to ever happen. If ever an All Tomorrows movie were to happen, it would come not from a big studio, but from a small group of passionate creators who would release it online. So while I think a movie could be pretty cool, I actually feel that a better format for this particular story, in the visual medium, would be as a series produced by a streaming company like Netflix or Amazon Prime Video. So this video is going to be about my pitch for an All Tomorrows online series that I would make were I in a position to do so. So what I'm thinking is, for starters, that the series would just retain the name of the book with no pretentious changes or cheesy subtitles. It would simply be called All Tomorrows, or maybe C.M. Kozeman's All Tomorrows. It would be a series with 10 episodes per season, each one being between 45 to 60 minutes long. The show would be computer animated in the same way as an already existing Netflix sci-fi show called Love, Death and Robots, which is a pretty cool series by the way. If you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend checking it out. It's an anthology series, and in my view it's a bit hit and miss, with some of the episodes being awesome and others being a bit meh, but the CGI in that show is pretty damn good. In particular, I would recommend the Volume 1 episode Lucky 13, as the animation in that episode is top shelf and is also the level of CGI that this hypothetical All Tomorrows show would have. I won't show any footage of it here, as Netflix are pretty aggressive when it comes to copyright striking YouTubers who show their stuff, but I will put a link in the description where you can see a bit of it and get an idea of how my All Tomorrows show would look. Or if you have Netflix, you can just go and check it out for yourself on there. Musically, I'm thinking Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross could do the score for the series, though I think they only do movies, so it would need to be somebody who scores TV shows but has a similar style. There won't be any pop songs anywhere near this show, except for some original ones sung by a Satiriac pop star. The trailer for the show won't have any What's Up by 4 Non-Blondes in it or anything stupid like that. So when it comes to the actual subject matter in my show, it would also be a sort of anthology series, but obviously all set within the All Tomorrows universe. Each episode could focus on a different species. I wouldn't make every episode about that species' beginning, existence and then extinction at the hands of the Gravital, because it would get a bit samey. Instead, there could perhaps be 1 or 2 episodes where it ends with the Gravital invasion, but others could be a story about an individual or event that took place on that world at some point during their millions of years of existence. This would mean that there is a limitless number of ways that an episode's story could go, because there would have obviously been billions of individuals to come and go over the time span of a species' existence, and countless events as well, so you would hardly be restricted in what you could do. And also, each of the episodes could be hundreds of thousands of years apart or even millions of years apart from each other, meaning you won't have to worry about continuity between episodes, only the continuity of the lore established in the book. You could have an episode set during the Snake People's medieval period, and then an episode set a few million years later during a period of the Bugfacer's lifetime where they've become extremely advanced. Now, regarding the question of getting the wider audience who haven't read the book to understand the whole thing about the Q having meddled with the Star People DNA to change them into a myriad of different forms, you could have one episode that goes through that, maybe the very first episode, which over an hour or an hour and 15 minutes begins with showing the Star People doing their thing on a futuristic world, only to receive a surprise visit from the Q. We would then get to actually see how the Q go about invading a planet, modifying its inhabitants, and then leaving again. And then perhaps the final few minutes of this episode would be a sped up look at their world changing and evolving, along with its inhabitants, which could be any one of the book's species, and then we see the eventual Gravital invasion, which darkens and silences the world for good. Then the audience would be shown a short paragraph of text stating that every species changed by the Q would either go extinct before re-evolving their sentience, or would evolve to once again become intelligent beings. Most would eventually be wiped out by the Gravital, but not all. This of course references the Star People, who would eventually evolve into the Astromorphs, and also the Bugfacers as well. The next episode could be about the Killer Folk, with the start of this episode showing a prey human being chased and hunted by a predator human before being caught and killed. The screen would then go black, and and some text would fade in saying 600,000 years later, and the evolved Killerfolk story would begin. Then after that, each of the episodes about a different species could have a short paragraph of text and an image of what they started as and then what they would become, or a short montage at the beginning involving the species that the episode will be about, showing their changes. For example, in the Snake People episode, we would be shown a worm and its eventual evolution into a snake person, to show the audience what the Q made and what it then became after millions of years. The stories of each episode could be small scale or intergalactic. You could have an episode about an average Pterosapien going about his or her day, which to them would be mundane but to us would be a fascinating look at life on their planet, and another episode could be about the Astromorphs doing all of the godlike things that they do. The show would be written by high caliber writers who are actually capable of coming up with interesting and inventive stories and characters, and it wouldn't cram politics down the viewers' throats like so many shows and movies insist on doing these days. It would just be a well-written show with compelling stories, likeable characters, and great voice acting. So that's my basic outline for an All Tomorrow show. What do you guys think? Is this a good way to go, or do you have a different idea for the best way to bring this amazing story to the big or small screen? Sound off in the comments section and let me know what you think. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and check out the merch store. And also, if you want to help out the channel and allow me to keep making these videos, you can now make a Bitcoin donation via the wallet address in the description. Again, thanks for watching. This has been Beware the Q, and I'll see you in the next video.